CapEx, for example, we have the Saudi Industrial Development Fund that funds project up to 75% of project financing. They provide soft loans solutions. For labor, for example, we have the Saudi Arabia Human Resources Development Fund, which covers up to 30% of Saudi employee salaries for the first 2 years. For utilities, for example, we have the lowest, one of the lowest utility electricity tariff globally, 4.8 cents per kilowatt hour. For export, we have a very strategic location, just like Barkan mentioned, and we have the Saudi Exim Bank, which provides a lot of solutions to support export. And we've also started to implementing localization tools such as agreement framework and price preference, all of which support local made products and services. Now I'll take you quickly over the energy transition opportunities in Saudi Arabia. For example, we'll start with the electricity mix. The goal to have 50% of our electricity mix by 2030 to be from renewable energy. Remaining will be from natural gas, which creates significant opportunities, both in renewable and natural gas. In renewable, there is an opportunity to generate 59 gigawatts from solar and wind, mainly from solar. And for gas, the remaining 50% will be from gas-fired cogeneration facilities. Also, the energy efficiency is part of the plan to optimize our energy sector growth. Saudi Arabia is also investing in the hydrogen economy. We have two ongoing projects. Neom Green hydrogen energy project, which will produce 650 tons of carbon-free hydrogen per day. And we have Saudi Aramco blue hydrogen project with 100% carbon capture, which will produce 100 million tons of blue ammonia. And more projects to come. This was covered by my colleague Rakan. Saudi Arabia is also in line with the global commitment to climate change, and we have launched the Saudi Green Initiative with the goal of achieving net zero by 2060. This initiative is a Saudi's whole of society approach to climate action. And just due to time constraints, I'll just move on. Now I want to share with you our localization story of the energy sector. We have a target of localization of 75% by 2030, with the objective of increasing the overall spending in Saudi Arabia for the sector and localizing high-value jobs, enhancing local products and services competitiveness, ensuring business continuity and sustainability, knowledge and know-how transfer. So to achieve this 75% target, we have implemented a number of local content requirements, as I mentioned before, such as price preference, mandatory list, and framework agreement, which has resulted in high local content by key players in the energy sector, such as Saudi Aramco, our national oil and gas company, which has scored 59% local content of goods and services for 2021. Also, our national electricity company achieved 41%. So 75% localization target creates opportunities across the value chain, whether in development, manufacturing, or services. For example, for manufacturing, we are targeting to localize these key products in some of the energy segments. This list is not inclusive. We have more and more products. And if we take, for example, the transformers, our goal is to transfer tier 1 of product and service footprint and know-how to Saudi Arabia, then start attracting tier 2 and 3 based on competitiveness and suitability. Another example is under the hydrogen segment. We are targeting to localize the manufacturing of electrolyzers. Even though some of them are still in early technical readiness levels, yes, we are willing to partner and co-develop this equipment with innovative companies, which takes me to the next part of the presentation, which is that our Saudi energy sector is has a very innovative ecosystem. Looking here is shown here is the key stakeholders in the sector, and in the right-hand side, number of energy-related corporate venture capital entities. They are investing both in pre-seed as well as TRL3 and onward projects. This is all. More opportunity could be accessed using the link here, or the one shared by Rakan earlier, and I'll be around to answer any of your questions. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much for your presentation. You just underlined, what potential your country is offering to us. On the other hand, also that there's quite some demand coming from Saudi Arabia, and we will try, to give a response to both of it. Thank you so much. It really was highly interesting. And I immediately tried to go to our next speaker, the commercial attaché at the Royal Embassy of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in Germany, Slaiman Alhomidan. Please start your presentation.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for the opportunity you provide for us to show in this presentation the role of the Saudi Commercial Office, which is part of the Saudi General Authority for Foreign Trade. As said earlier, my name is Slaiman Alhomidan. I am the commercial attaché in the Saudi Embassy in Berlin and responsible for a bigger coverage area, which is Central and Northern of Europe. To start the presentation, the Saudi Foreign Authority was established back in 2019 as a spin from Ministry of Trade, where there were deputyship for foreign trade, and later on, due to the 2030 vision, the royal decree came to give a dedicated organization to support the foreign trade between Saudi and all friendly countries. The GAFT, or General Foreign Trade Authority, has three major strategic goals, starting from open market and access to support the Saudi export to the international market, come to empower the local tools in order to support the exporter and friendly importers in the guest countries. And last is the strengthening the commercial enabling capabilities in both sides of the relationship between Saudi and their friend countries. Our main tasks are deviating from setting up the policies where we can see that it can support the export-import between Saudi and the other countries. We're talking about overseeing the commercial attaché office, which are now exist in almost 20 countries all over the world, and we are expanding, depending on the need to have a bigger operation in each countries. When then we do help in facilitating B2B business opportunity to support the products in Saudi and other friend countries, where we focus actually on looking into the trade balance between Saudi and the friend countries as well. We assure that we will have a very healthy trade balance that will bring the maximum benefits between both countries. With the deputyship of private sector affair and global presence, we, as said earlier, we have a major mission to enable the private sector. So we are looking as much as possible to increase our contact with the private sectors in retail or any other industries. As a commercial attaché office, we are happy to share with you our main goal, which is to develop the trade, as said, and investment with the collaboration with the Ministry of Investment in Saudi Arabia and other internal stakeholders. As said, we are now covering footprint for inside 20 countries, where we are covering almost more than 60, 65 as a coverage countries. Now, starting from 2016, we have created Saudi Foreign Business Councils, and it's a very good opportunity for me to announce that we are recently now announced to establish Saudi-Austrian Business Council that within the next 3 months will start to take place and to find the counterpart here in Austria. With that, I have finished my presentation. If there is any question, we will be happy to take it at the end of the session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your presentation and also the advice you gave us. I only can tell you, you know, when you are coming from Bundesrepublik and of course Austria very often is in a situation of comparison with Deutschland, and most people are just telling us, yeah, you can provide the same quality, but Austria is a little bit more flexible. And insofar, use this specific chance and this specific opportunity, you know, it will be your advantage and of course also a little bit ours. Thank you so much once again. And now, of course, we also want to show a little bit from the Austrian side, what can we offer. And first is Dr. Mario Müller, Head of Research and Development, Emerald Horizon, about the Thorium module. And I'm looking forward, because I'm really interested what you will present to us. Please.
So thank you so much. Warm welcome from my side, from my company, Emerald Horizon. Dear Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure being here presenting you something which sounds a little bit like science fiction, but it isn't. It is more about the future of energy supply, the zero-emission energy supply we all need, because we are all on the same spaceship. It's called planet Earth. We have the same dedication to this planet, and we have also the duty to keep it running. So the idea is that what we need to think about is all about life. We try to find solutions all over the planet. Sometimes they are similar, sometimes they are a little bit different, but finally we all have the same goal: to keep everything alive and create and keep the future sure for our kids and grandkids. If I talk about it's all about life, then it's all about energy, because energy is the main necessity we need to keep life running and even the evolution on the planet. So there is no life, there's no development without energy. So the big issue is how to bring this energy to our everyday life. And we all do know that today we have a global energy system which is based on fossil fuels. It's more than 85% driven by coal, oil, or gas. But we also know that the efficiency of this kind of technologies are limited, even if we try to improve it as much as possible. We know that this energy carrier is limited in energy density, and we all do know that this energy supply is mainly central organized, and there's also the need that we need to have a transformation. It was already mentioned a couple of times today, and we all know it because it's common sense for all of us. So what we try to bring in this game of change is a new material, and this material is called thorium. Thorium is a material which is quite often available on the planet, but it's not used yet because it's mainly not known. This transformation using thorium has a big chance, and I just show you here some numbers to give you the impression what is the difference. So you all know about 1 kilogram of oil. 1 kilogram of oil has about 13,000 watt hours. That's the unit of energy as we count it. And this 1 kilogram of oil is able to keep a 100 watt light bulb running for about 5 days. If we try to do the same with 1 kilogram of thorium with a technology we are developing, it could keep that running for 220,000 hours, which is about 25 years. So the big difference is the energy density between these two energy carriers, and that brings up a big opportunity for all of us. So that was the wrong direction. So the objectives for the technologies we are developing here in Austria, we call the system ADIS. ADIS is an appreciation for accelerator-driven energy source. And this energy source is able to support energy without carbon emission, has a really low environmental impact. The volatility, which is an important point because we are looking for 24/7 energy sources. We all know about the advantages of wind power, of solar power, but we also know it's not available all over the day. So we need to have a sure foundation for energy supply. We also are not interested in nuclear waste as we know it from the nowadays nuclear power plants. We need to have an energy source which is not limited in the environment where we try to bring it. And finally, it shouldn't be large. And maybe, that's a big issue, it should be able to produce in a serious production way. So what we tried to find, we started our startup company in 2019. First of all, we have checked what is available about energies in the world. And the technology we are looking for is using the energy of the nucleus of atoms without using a chain reaction as it is used in nuclear power plants. This is a quite a promising idea, and it's quite nice that we in Austria have started this idea because maybe you know Austria has no nuclear power plant, but we have the home base of the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is located here in Austria, in Vienna specifically. So what we have identified were 7 technologies, milestones in the history of physics and technology, and we try to bring up the best and combine the best of those technologies in order to bring up a new technology which enables us to harvest the energy of thorium, especially of the nucleus of thorium, where the energy density is 1 million times bigger than the energy of the electrons, which is the foundation for chemical energy as we use it for combustion engines. So thorium is quite known in the science community already back in the 50s and 60s. Then there were some experiments in the 80s, even in Germany. And we know that Europe is also the home base of the largest particle accelerator, which is located in CERN, Switzerland, and partly also in France. This technology has done a lot of improvements the last couple of years. We all know that particle accelerators help us curing cancer, especially cancers which could not treat with other technologies. But this technology of particle accelerators are also a helping tool for harvesting the energy of nucleus of atoms. One of the father of this idea, I showed a picture of him. I met him at CERN. His name is Carlo Rubia. He has created the idea of an amplifier in the late 80s, where he described the first time how to use a particle accelerator for harvesting nuclear power from the nucleus of atoms. So the 7 topics I have shown you, we have combined in a new way. And this is a visualization of the idea, how the future energy technology will look like. So others will be housed in a 40 feet container, which is about 12 meters long. And as you can see here, I don't know if there's a laser pointer. Here there is the particle accelerator, which starts the injection into a ring where we have liquid salt running around, where the thorium is also soluted. And by hitting the thorium in liquid form, there is the release of energy taking place. This liquid salt here is about 700 to 900 degrees in temperature, and afterwards we can use this created heat in a conventional way by using steam generation machines. The material of thorium is not solar-based, not Earth-based, and not even solar system-based. It comes from space. So they are aliens on our planet, but they are widely distributed all over the planet. So there are more than 6 million tons available as far as the International Atomic Energy Agency has described it. And the material itself is part of our periodic system. And it is, as I've described, widely distributed over the world. And I just picked out the region of Saudi Arabia. And as you can see, if it works, it doesn't work anymore. So in this area here, there are also thorium around in Saudi Arabia. And even in Austria, there are some regions south of Austria, in Carinthia, where thorium could be mined and could be available for the production of energy throughout the coming years. This map was released at the end of 2021 and is mainly not that known. And that's also a reason why we showed it here, that the people remember that there is something around which could help supporting us for finding solution against the climate change. Others as a module, because it's small, it's transportable, and we can produce it in series, could be used in a different multiple use cases. Wherever you need energy in a central point, on airports, on hospitals, even on ships, you can place such a module for having heat and finally energy wherever you need. The energy amount for one of those modules is about 25 megawatt thermal power, which is about by 60% of efficiency, about 15 megawatt of electrical power, and that all over the year. So because I know that in Saudi Arabia you have a lot of successes the last couple of years regarding your space technology, I would also like to mention as a side information, because a friend of mine is now the director of your space agency in Saudi Arabia, Frank Salzgeber. He was formerly at the European Space Agency. And if we want to jump to the moon, the thorium is already there. So it would help us, supporting us there on our closest planet. So finally, just to give you another idea about the energy density, and because I know that you are used to fossil oil, this is a big tank with about 2.8 million barrels of oil, which could be transported. That's about 360 millions of kilogram of oil, or if I say it in energy, it's about 4.4 terawatt hours of electrical or of energy at all. So if I try to create this energy with thorium, you can see the data at the right bottom position. It's about 440 kilograms of thorium, which is converted into barrel, just 1/3 of a barrel. So that's sensational description with data, but it's because the energy density is so much higher in thorium than in conventional and chemical energy. So this is just to give you an idea why this is such an important way to jump onto thorium it's not just here in Saudi Arabia, all over the world, this big opportunity should be picked up in order to create new solutions. Finally, this is not done just by us. This is a big topic, so we are working together with experts in that field because Austria is not yet on the nuclear idea that there is a lot of energy. We are working together with countries in the neighborhood. We try to convince the Austrians, so we've already visited a couple of politicians in Austria and showing them that there's a big opportunity. You shouldn't skip that. But internationally, it's a different mindset, and we appreciate that most. Finally, let's say thank you to you for your future information demand. My CEO, Florian Wagner, is also with us. We have distributed a couple of one-pagers around in the room and also in the exhibition area. But for any further questions, I'm also at your possibility, so please contact me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for this highly interesting presentation. I guess everybody has learned a few new things, and it's always interesting, not only the way, but also the speed, new possibilities, capabilities, instruments, and also methods are coming on. Thank you so much. Last but not least, now, Mr. Peter Lieber, he will present a software project, and please take the floor and tell us a little bit about procedures and about steering and guiding instruments for further progress. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, hopefully. Yeah. Last barrier before the lunch time, so networking chance. So hopefully I will not empty the room finally. Yes, I try to speed up a little because I think we are still in time. Ladies and gentlemen, very warm welcome also from my side. The topic of today is not to produce new origin of power. It's about reduction, meaning we have a lot of electromotors, and it's not only in cars. It's in a car there are more than 40 electromotors, but it's refrigerators. It's the climate that you have warm heat, that there is a motor for a ventilator. So there are a lot of motors in the world, and they're not controlled by software at all. They are just analog, just giving power, it's faster, less power, it's slower. And it's not very efficient because you have runtime, you have brushless motors, you have more, but it's on the barrier of possibilities. So I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence in a very different way. So I will try to use this wonderful machine as well. This project is a EU-funded project, and we have partners from Germany, Austria, and Turkey. So European funding projects, especially for Eureka cluster projects, also as a Korean company can participate, as a Canadian company. So I invite all the Arabic countries to participate in Eureka cluster programs. It's really innovative, and it allows a lot of collaboration cross country borders. So please try to become part of Eureka cluster projects. This cluster project is about Penta. Penta is about electronics, so it's not about software, fun fact. As a software company, I'm participating in electronics, but nevertheless, in electronics, they also found out that 50% of the efforts for electronics is about software and firmware and applications running on system on chips. And this is a very interesting combination of large enterprises producing chips like Infineon, writing motor control systems or motor steering software from Moteon, Technical University of Munich and Ilmenau. So I had to pronounce it correctly, I think. And this is not German in Ilmenau, it's a different German. And in Austria we have, and there are some small medium enterprises, one startup, USPET from Austria and us, Albarak from Turkey, Neurocon and FEAM from Germany. I'll stay with the sample of cars because almost everybody thinks or thoughts, especially in Europe, that electro or accu-driven or lithium-ion-driven cars are the answer, and it is not. So we heard about hydrogen, we heard about new technologies, because this is not an answer to fulfill it. But my perspective today is the electric motor. So think about how many motors you have in one car. So we have, oops, that works somehow. So these are all the motors in a car, the sun thrust, the turbo, the water pump, the power steering, the pump for the fuel, the pump for the oil. These are all electric motors. Even in a traditional car, you have more than 40 electric motors. And this is a very interesting calculation that you, what is responsible for controlling a motor, that we have more than 20% of worldwide carbon dioxide is produced by the use of electric motors. So that's an interesting calculation. I think you have never heard about it. So if you reduce the power consumption of electric motors by changing the way to control it, we have an opportunity to reduce the carbon dioxide as well. And we think we can reduce it by 60%. Just to give you an insight already, we have reached so far 40%, and I think we are on the limit. So 60% we will not reach, but 40% is reachable in real-world scenarios by just changing the way how we steer electric motors. We have another technology that was very popular, it became very popular the last years. It's already existing since 50 years. We call it artificial intelligence. And believe me, it's not that intelligence. It's more machine learning, is using a lot of power. And in comparison to my motor control thing, an artificial intelligence is consuming the major memory of world computational capacities. Major power. I think there are power plants only running for Facebook and for stupid data, and for artificial intelligence even worse. So it's really contradictory if we would say AI is the answer for optimizing it. But there is a secret, and you have never heard about it. It's called TinyML. TinyML is artificial intelligence or machine learning for system on chips. So I'm talking about systems running on a finger smaller than a finger, so really system on chip level. And there we have the complete opposite of the size of artificial intelligence model. It's really focused on a specific duty. And we use that technology especially for motor control systems. Because if we would use the traditional AI approaches, all the benefits we get from that would be lost by the capacity of computers to calculate it. So we are behind this, I would name it artificial intelligence revolution, really intelligence on very, very small devices, system on chip. And therefore, you can read about it. So how many power you need, how many whatever you need less RAM, less power, less CPU, everything less. For a software guy, it's the opposite of cool, because in the software industry, give me more, it's the normal way. But for TinyML, the opposite is true. So really to have the most efficient code on system on chip level only can be achieved with TinyML. If you are a little bit about who has ever been in software industry? Okay, nobody. So thank you. Yes, okay. So I cannot lie to you. But can you tell you a story? 30 years ago, everything was all about fuzzy logic. And engineers said, hey, fuzzy logic is a stupid thing because we can do it better as engineers. But artificial intelligence is a little bit different than just fuzzy logic, as an insight for you only. So there is some process, and what is very important, we have achieved already a lot of goals because it's already running 1.5 years. As I mentioned before, 30% reduction of need of power, longer runtime environment, and we have one for the Turkey use case. They're using for power for high-speed trains, the door opening and closing system, much better predictive of maintenance, of course. So the motors are running longer, so you don't have to waste to reproduce the motors. So this is one of the samples from our Turkish partners. Yes, this is very engineering, so I jump over. And maybe if you want to go deeper, everything what's now, it's detail, and also some communication, but you will find it in the presentation that you get with you. And finally, I have to say, yes, we can achieve it. If you have questions and answers, I hand over to Werner. Thank you.
Yeah, Peter, thank you very much for your presentation. it was equally interesting. Certainly was not the least, but highly interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm looking at my watch and I see we have 2 minutes left to our schedule. And therefore, my proposal would be, first of all, if you have questions, please ask the questions, but very shortly. And because we should try, you know, to start sharply also our next agenda in the program. So far, my question is there any question from the public? Yes, I see one, the Ambassador of Sudan. Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. My question is to Mr. Müller. For this thorium revolution, how do you see the challenges which are inhibiting the commercialization of this very promising technology, and how, in years' time, how are we far from commercializing this technology? Thank you very much.
Does it work?
So technical solution, okay. So regarding the topic point, so we have started the activities in 2019. We have done a lot of research for finding solutions which are already there. So we've indicated and found a lot of solutions we are currently integrating. So we have a time schedule that we have specific technologies under development which are the foundation for the final harvesting technology, which will be ready-made as a prototype in 2026. So that's the first time or milestone. And the second step, that the first time that there's more energy coming out than we put in, which is the goal, is in 2029 as a prototype. And with that milestone, we already think in advance how to serialize it. Basically, we are a startup company doing it as a developing. So we are not the producers, but we are already talking with producers which are producing our components. And in parallel, we are trying to develop them to do the final serialization, because it will be in comparison to a conventional nuclear power plant, which you just build once. We are not creating a power plant, we are creating a new machine. And with machine, you can produce it in series, which is a big advantage because you can learn also with the amount you have produced. And it's much easier also to commercialize it afterwards, because if you are able to produce it once in a serial way, you can produce it everywhere. So this is the timeline we are currently on.
Thank you very much. Is there any other question? If this is not the case, and this is obviously not the case, I really want to thank our presenters for the really excellent presentations. It was just a pleasure for me to listen, and I learned a lot, I have to say. You gave us a picture from your country, from Saudi Arabia, and on the other hand, you also could present a few new projects for the future. And I do not only want to thank you, but I also want to thank once again from my side, because it's the last point before going to the working lunch. I also want to thank the Secretary General of the Chamber and his whole team, especially Lieber Kaplan. What we experienced today was not just a usual conference, but we have to be aware that we concentrated on the development in two countries, in the Emirates and in Saudi Arabia. And we have to be aware, those are two countries at the very top of international development, not only within the Arab camp, but worldwide. And what is going on over there will be interesting for the whole world. And I think that everybody who was present also could get the conviction that there are also quite some companies in Austria that are at the very top of development with their new ideas, with their new methods and instruments. And insofar, I think we just have to link it, to bring it together, to invest together, to find ways how we can bring it together. And this is also the reason for this organization. Once again, I want to thank you. I also want to thank our auditory for being calm and very, very, let me say, nice to our speakers. There was no incident, no negative. I only listened to praising words, highly interesting words, and that's what it should be. And let me say, let me just at the very end tell you a short incident of a few weeks ago when we were together in Amman at a big conference of the chambers. The second day I was there, somebody came and said, you are Mr. Fasslabend. And in this moment, I knew that I was accepted and that the difference, also in the names, between the Arab and the Austrian world is not very big. Just, I can tell you, make the same experience. Go to the Arab countries and you will see and you will learn a really nice society open for everybody. You will have the best possible experience. And on the other hand, I also can tell our Arab friends, come to Austria and you will regret when you have to go home. And in this sense, I now hand over to our Secretary General, who will just talk about the very last agenda.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. It is an honor working with you, and I'm really excited to have you as a president of our chamber. Ladies and gentlemen, our president already put thanks to our team, and I don't want to repeat it, but our very special thanks goes to our sponsors. A lot of companies, but mainly, and allow me to say this to Mr. Nabil Kuzbari, who is holding the chamber and supporting every single day, not only when it's come to ideological support, but also when it's come to financial support. The other thing is to all Arab ambassadors, thank you very much, doing a lot of effort to make this happen. And we have met last week several times, and I have had talks. As our president say, we have some changes the recent days, especially when it's come to the conference, 51st conference of the OPEC minister meeting, and OPEC and OPEC Plus, and therefore we hadn't the opportunity to get minister of oil from the Arab countries, but we have had the honor to be visited by 3 ministers from the Arab countries when it comes to industry. Special thanks to the Embassy of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and also our dear brothers coming along from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, but also to our dear colleagues and brothers from the UAE and His Excellency Hamad Al-Ka'bi. A warm welcome to the Vienna Economic Chamber. Please give them a hand, a wonderful cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Claudia, for everything, and Dr. So, and I have the honor to, together with my president, to welcome you to a networking lunch. Please speak, discuss, And as our president say, there were no incidents and no conflicts. So this is the business mentality, and we are very glad to have it here. Thank you very much. All the best. All the best.